following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
This is Media Mash, a roundtable of Cowboys insiders dropping wisdom and offering sizzling takes on the current state of your Dallas Cowboys. Now, your host, Steve Dennis.
Sizzling takes is what the man said there. I am Steve Dennis. Welcome. Let me get my headphones right here. Oh, too old for that noise, Nick. Welcome to Media Mash on this Thursday. We've got a foursome ready to go. We got somebody brand new, a first-timer with us on the show. So let me say that Clarence E. Hill Jr. is here from the Fort Worth Star-Telegram. Hi, Chill. Oh, that's such a Texas thing to do.
Doesn't even know what camera to go to.
but he's got.
Oh, I didn't see that right there. Which one's that? Go ahead, camera.
You have to look at his shirt.
Oh, nice.
Mission Sycamore grad.
I'm with you.
I'm from Ohio.
I'm with you. I like that.
You don't even know who that is.
Yes, I do. I know all about it. Here's Nick Eatman, DallasCowboys.com. What do you got, Nick?
Nothing.
And as our rule here, when you join the show, you must announce yourself because you are a co-host like the rest of us. State your name, your affiliation, and your favorite DFW media member.
Wow, that is quite the question. I'm Jory Epstein. I work for USA Today as a Cowboys and NFL reporter. Clarence is here, so I'm not going to go with him. He also probably should have, not gone so hard on me today if he wanted to be my favorite member.
Who broke the
So I'm going to go with Kevin Sherrington.
Okay.
We want to rate that opinion?
No, it's her opinion is 100%. Her opinion is right.
What did Chill do to upset you today?
You can't rate her opinion.
Oh, we've got a list.
All in one day.
It's been a day.
Has it?
Has it?
Has it? You're in the game, Jory.
I know. I'm in the game.
She's
That's
in the game, so she's one of us. So,
That's scary.
No holds barred.
How many are in the game these days?
Everybody in the media room is in the game.
Okay.
We talk shit to each other. It's okay.
Hey.
Oh, excuse me.
Jesus.
Hey.
I'm sorry. We talk trash to each
Man,
other.
Here
I'm sorry.
Here comes a security guard.
I didn't do it. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm going to get
okay.
We want our little.
I'm going to get another text from
fans to watch
952. I'm sorry.
That might mess up. I mean, Chris Beam's only been here since like 9 o'clock doing producing
sorry.
shows.
Don't make me have to edit
All
this
That
show,
has to
please.
edit it out.
I'm sorry. Please.
That other voice is Chris Beam, rookie to one of us. Has been for 25 years now.
At some point, you're going to have to move on from
No,
that,
I
right?
can't.
Okay.
He's just rookie.
He's not the rookie.
Hey, Beamer, tell us where they can find Media Mash every Wednesday and Thursday. I know it's on DallasCowboys.com radio. Twitter, Facebook, tell me. YouTube?
Twitter, Facebook, the Cowboys Now app, which we like to send people to. Get a lot of good stuff there. Nick, anything else?
No, I think
That's
you're right.
about it, right?
Yeah, that's about it. And that's
All
that's
social
a
media
lot.
channels.
It's always weird when you're announcing it to somebody that's already listening in her.
Already found
it's like
it.
it's already found it. You're like, this is where you can find us.
You can find the show wherever you are right now.
There you go.
That's right. All right, so let's dive in. Let's mash some stuff up here on Media Mash. Starting with this, I love this. Nick Sirianni, the head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles, with his Beat Dallas shirt today in a news conference, has a very collegiate feel to it, but I like it.
High school Harry, sir. It's high school Harry. Joe College. We don't do that around here.
I like it. You don't like it?
That's the McCarthyism.
Oh.
Hard knocks. We don't. High school Harry.
High school Harry. Actually, this would be more of a collegiate coaches thing, I would think.
I know no collegiate coaches that wear beat Texas on their shirt or beat Oklahoma or beat Arkansas before games.
But they will accept the rivalry more readily, I think.
Who's watching this press conference?
Eagles fans.
Pander into the crowd.
And the world.
The world's not watching Nick Sirianni.
I mean Eagles fans.
Yeah.
So when you talk about a college sophomoric type of, I'm sorry. I mean,
it is.
I mean, Where do they rank in like worst fans at all? I'm sorry. I mean, I'll say whatever. I mean, Philadelphia fans, I mean, that's who you're catering to. They love it. They eat that up. They hate Dallas. So this is great to them. He's trying to, they got to do something.
Jory, you like it or not?
Well, I was excited that we found this out before talking to players today, so I made it a point to ask CD, Zeke, Greg Zuerlein, and Trayvon Diggs what they thought of it today, and Zeke goes, yeah, that's not our thing. Like, we stay in our lane. And the other guys also, I love CD, goes, I'm not mad at him. And we're like, thank you for clearing that up, CD. We were really
Well, it's not bulletin board material, but I mean, it's like, it's High School Harry.
All right. Now,
we don't do High School Harry around here
so
anymore.
you guys would completely roll your eyes if McCarthy pulled that?
Yes.
Which coach would have pulled that?
None.
Wade? Huh?
I mean,
Campo?
I guess Steve.
Surprise.
Steve, I go back. I go back. Steve, you and I go back.
Parcells would have done
Got my boots back.
You and I go back a long way.
We do.
Okay, and I've been following the Cowboys all my life.
Yeah.
The Cowboys are everybody's biggest rival, kind of like Texas or Ohio State. I mean, the NFC. There's Washington week. In Washington there's Dallas week. In Philadelphia there's Dallas week. In New York there's Dallas week. They're everybody's biggest rivals. The Cardinals hate them from way back. The Cowboys. In the 70s, it was Washington just because of the George Allen stuff. It kind of became the Eagles in the 80s and now in the 90s. But there was a time when it was the Giants with O.C. Umenyiora and the Romo Cowboys. But it's always Cowboys week for somebody else. The Cowboys, at least my time covering the beat, the passion for the other team, the rivalry is not the same here in Dallas as it is in other cities. And so I don't get caught up into the rivalries. I rarely write stories about a damn pro football
I think YouTube in particular, not Jory, are being a little stuffy about this.
No.
That's my opinion. I don't think there's anything wrong with a new young head coach
I'm not
have a little fun.
Yeah, I think he's
I'm not being
pandering
stuffy. I'm saying look at who he's
Pandering.
he's catering to is the Eagles fan.
Yeah, and they'll go
eat
crazy
this.
over Cowboy Week. It is a bigger deal there than it is here. You don't see anybody talking about Eagles Week in Dallas.
I do agree it's a bigger deal in Philadelphia. That said, Zeke told us today, he goes, the Feagles, Philadelphia.
Call them the Feagles.
They're the Feagles.
The Eagles have been their biggest rivals.
Feeble.
Yeah, no,
Feagles.
they've been their tough. That's what they fought
So
to get into the playoffs. And based on who's the better team.
Right.
Like I said, again, I remember when it was Washington. I remember earlier in the career when it was Romo and the Eagles going back and forth. And certainly there were times, so and then you have when Jimmy Johnson first came, and it was those Eagles team and beating up on so that it rotates in cycles. The Cowboys have always been the center of it. So yes, right now the Eagles have been the team that have been a thorn in the Cowboys' side. But again, it's more on their side than on this side. That's all I'm saying, even for the fans.
I went to high school an hour south of Philadelphia. I can attest. Philadelphia fans hate the Dallas Cowboys. Their lives revolve around it. And that's what Sirianni said today. You don't have any idea how, since I've been here, how many people have told me to beat Dallas. So he put it on a T-shirt. Now, he only coached college at Mount Union, where he played, in Pennsylvania, I think, and then the Indiana University of Pennsylvania, and he's been an NFL guy ever since. You would think this would be an Urban Meyer move, who comes from college, first time in the NFL, and his T-shirt would say, beat anybody. Just beat anybody.
Or get along with the coaching staff.
But anyway, that was an interesting thing today, I thought. I don't have a problem with it. I think the NFL could have a little more fun with its
on
rivalries.
On the field.
I don't know. Are they going to give him a taunting penalty for that?
Yeah, I think, there you go. He should be flagged for taunting.
Yeah.
15 yards on the coaching staff.
All right, the other issue that I thought we could discuss in our first segment today, with Dorrance Armstrong out, Carlos Watkins probably out as well, Randy Gregory back in. I think it's top of mind with Cowboys fans. Where in the hell is Micah Parsons going to play this weekend against Philadelphia?
Wherever the hell he wants.
Drop the mic.
Yeah, I will say
it's at that point, right? Hey, you want to play quarterback for AB going up?
All right, let me rephrase.
We're at that point.
Keep that question in mind. The second one is, where will he make a bigger impact against this team in the game plan, in your opinion?
Well, I think he's got to play linebacker. I mean, I think he's got to be in the nickel. He's got to be in the nickel linebacker, especially with Keanu O'Neal supposedly going to miss the game. I guess that's still up in the air, but I mean, I don't like my chances with this team with COVID guys. I mean, I don't know, they typically miss the game, so you have to expect he's going to miss.
And the thing about it is it's not even he hasn't tested positive. He just was a close contact. If he continues not to test positive, he could conceivably be ready to play. But do you want to play him a lot of snaps after not being practicing all week?
Right.
You know, the conditioning issue is there, the game plan issue, just walk. I mean, this is not high school. You just can't, walk off the bus and start playing. You haven't practiced all week. So he will be limited at best. But as far as the Eagles' game plan is concerned regarding Micah, we do know today that he spent time individual drills with the linebackers and pass rushing drills with the defensive linemen. So he did both. But as Nick said, he didn't say, but the Eagles, the way they play, their style of play with their mobile quarterback who likes to run, you probably want him in the nickel, in the middle, so he can chase down that quarterback rather than rushing.
Yeah, I think that's fair, but I think Clarence makes that good point that when we're watching drills today, he's not on the sleds with the linebackers. So I think it's definitely not that he is all linebacker all the time, and that was a one-game situation with him at defensive end against the Chargers. But it seems like it's going to be a week-to-week game plan situation. Now, if he's going to be in the middle, though, who besides Terrell Basham are you putting on your end? I mean, Bradley and who do you want
That's
there?
all you got.
What about
Randy Gregory's back.
Randy's back.
Randy's back. You need Randy to be Randy. Randy, we thought he was going to be coming into the season.
I tried to pub Basham a little bit a couple of weeks ago, and you just shot that right down. You did. His 3.5 sacks, or 7.5 sacks in his 3 years.
How about what did Basham say last week? Were you there? No.
He
had a lot of fun.
He had a lot of fun in this one game where you got a pressure.
The funny thing was
a hell of a pressure.
He got a pressure, and that was before we knew. That Micah was going to play defensive end full time. So we're going at that point. Okay, Boston's ready to go. He had a lot of fun against this quarterback last year, even though he had one pressure, and they're going to start Doris and Boston. Get to the game. It's Micah.
Okay. But I think what's good is that we can't say for sure, even though we can make the speculation, because that's what the Cowboys want the Eagles to be thinking. They want them to have to game plan for both. They want them to have to prepare not knowing where Michael will be, or even, as Micah said, if he's one place on first and second down and another on third.
Yeah, and we got to understand, even though Mike wants to play every down in every place, the Cowboys are right. You cannot play in 50 snaps rushing the passer.
Micah, however, says he's a bull and you don't pace a bull, you let him run.
He's a kid, and so they think they can do everything.
He's a wild bull, and he's a Terminator, apparently.
Yeah. One thing that, we haven't really talked a lot about is that nobody has ever game planned for Micah Parsons to play defensive end. That hasn't happened yet. So maybe it's going to happen now. Maybe the Eagles will game plan for it and he plays linebacker the whole game, which is good for the Cowboys. But, he went up against a right tackle, or he went against a left tackle that's a first-round pick, and I don't think he did anything. Okay, it was nothing. It was just he was sitting there hugging him. So then they moved him to another guy, which was a backup, and he started figuring out and he abused him. He hasn't faced a really good starting right tackle yet, and he hasn't faced anyone that they have a game plan for, and he really hasn't been run at yet. So before he's the next LT or D Ware, let's just see how he gets prepared for it.
He is the next LT and D Ware. What are you talking about?
Well, I want to.
No, seriously.
But he might be.
But one thing of note, and I would say this, that he went against a backup right tackle. Okay, so did Joey Bosa.
Right,
and we didn't hear nothing from Joey Bosa.
No, maybe that backup right tackle was a little better.
Okay, but I'm just saying, but you had to think that going into the game, Joey Bosa against the backup right tackle, he's going to wreck shop.
Well, wait a second. But that's my point, though.
Yeah.
Didn't they know where Joey Bosa was going to be? Didn't they game plan for him? Didn't that touchdown by Tony Pollard? They said we're not even blocking him. We're going to use his speed against them, and we'll score. You're right. They went against him, but let's see. Well, these coordinators aren't dumb. Let's see what happens when they're
the question here is, I'm sorry, if they do that, and we all know that right now, Micah Parsons is the only one getting to the quarterback. Okay, for 2 games, Micah Parsons is the only one who's consistently getting a rush and get to the quarterback. So if he doesn't play who's getting to the quarterback?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm fine with him doing it.
Right.
Just don't waste him on the side.
And by the way, this quarterback is totally different than the first 2 quarterbacks. I mean, I don't know. Your point about him being in the middle and running and hitting the quarterback past the line of scrimmage may be a better idea. He's got 144 yards rushing. He leads his team running the football. He's not a guy. He's so little. He's not a guy that you're going to find for sacks.
I would say this because I talked to Brian Baldinger for a story on Micah the other day, and I asked him about the spy, and he said, yeah, but the 49ers did not spy him. He ran for a few yards, but they weren't game-changing plays. And you rather him not be caught spying. You want him running after the quarterback, making plays rather than sitting in the middle as a fail-safe in case he runs out.
One more thought before we get to our next subject in the next segment. We always do this, Jory, and I'm going to apologize to you for this, but you'll do it too. We always think of our time here. So 97's when he started, 98's when I started, 99 is when he started. In that time, fellas, I was thinking about this today.
She's laughing because she's thinking how old she was.
3 years old.
Yeah, I know.
4 years old.
When she's been here that long,
right.
And it'll go like this. Trust me.
She'll be smart. She won't be here that.
But here's my thought. I mean, how rare it's been in our time that the Cowboys had a player on defense that the other team it confuses them all in the meeting rooms all week. What are we? D. Ware, who is now a Hall of Fame ballot guy.
Shoe in.
Probably a first ballot.
Shoe in. Ain't no probably.
All right. Okay, now beyond that, beside the leftovers, Woody was a leftover from the Super Bowl years. Ratliff? Roy Williams. I mean, that's 24 years of nothing.
Not a lot, and debatable on those two, Ratliff and Roy Williams, but they were
very debatable.
Yeah, they were dynamic. I mean, but here's the thing about Roy. I mean, they figured him out. They're like, okay, well, let's go do this with him, and he can't do this and this, and then exploited him, and then you start putting his price tag with the production, and then
He figured himself out.
He did.
I mean, the bottom line, he was one-dimensional, and the game changed, and he didn't change with it.
And you got to throw the Cowboys coaches under the bus too. They didn't help him.
Right,
I mean, they didn't put him in the spot you're supposed to put him in.
Linebacker.
And that's what you're trying to do with Jalen Smith. That's what I've said for 2 years now. These defensive coordinators. Who's the guy with the Tabasco sauce? What was that coach? I forgot. Nolan.
Tabasco.
Sorry, that's all I remember out of him.
Well,
so yeah, he
deserves that.
And then. See, maybe I'm just bad with names. Dan Quinn. But they've got to come in and figure out what to do with Jalen Smith. I mean, he's here. He's on the team. Figure it out. I think that's a coordinator's problem.
And I'm glad you brought up Jalen Smith.
And I should have mentioned Sean Lee. He was a bit of a problem for offenses for
when he was healthy.
Against the Eagles, particularly.
He was the Eagles killer.
When he was healthy. But he wasn't DeMarcus Lawrence. He's not.
No.
He was. DeMarcus Ware, and he was not on track to be a Hall of Famer. Let's be honest.
A true monster.
He was not. He was a great football player, not a monster. I'm glad you brought up Jalen Smith.
We got to get to a break, so go, baby.
And we can go back to it. But the issue with Keenan O'Neal, and the fact they're using Micah, because before the season, we should just cut him. He shouldn't be on the team. There was so much talk about who should be on the team. And I'm glad they kept all of them. It really, people all about the money and whatever. You need all these guys. Now, you got Micah playing defensive end. So you have veteran linebackers who can step in and play that position. Now Keenan O'Neal may miss the game. Well, good you have two veteran linebackers where LV and Jalen Smith, who've been your leading tackles the last 3 years.
They played well last week, too.
And they came in the right position, right coach, right communication, on a better staff. You can get something out of them.
All right, show of hands real quick. More linebacker than D end. Put your hand up if you think he'll play more linebacker.
Do I think he will?
Yeah.
Yeah, more linebacker.
So I think so, too. More D end? You two more D end? Wow, 2-on-2. All right, we'll see. All right, let's take a quick break.
We would score every time. And 2-on-2 on them, we would just post them up.
Well, let's go right now.
How are we talking basketball? Maybe we're talking football.
Let's go.
2-on-2 football?
She can outrun both. She can outrun you. She can run for days. She's a runner.
Hey, 2-on-2 cornhole. I'm dropping you. I'm taking Chris Beam, and we're going to win it.
I'll smoke both of you.
Foosball.
No.
Foosball.
Do you know what the greatest gambling game in America is right now? Cornhole. What do I love to do? Gamble. Trust me.
We can play it.
We play big cornhole games. You don't want a piece of me.
Beam.
You don't want a piece of me. Well, anyway. Let's do this next. It's just this silly idea I have. I got some things to touch on. So we're going to play a little game of Believe It or Do Not Believe It. I throw the statement out, and you guys answer the statement. That's coming up next on Media Mash.
Honey, big news.
Gary, are you okay?
Oh, I'm not Gary anymore. I'm Jackie Flash.
What?
See, I want the latest smartphone, but the best deals are only for new customers. So, to get a new customer deal, I changed my name to Jackie Flash.
Okay, but the best smartphone deals at AT&T are for everyone, new and existing customers.
That's huge. Then guess who's getting a deal?
Is it Jackie Flash?
Jackie Flash.
It's not complicated. At AT&T, our best smartphone deals are for everyone. Restrictions apply. Visit att.com for details.
New Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar. You deserve it.
I do deserve that.
You deserve decadent flavor without sugar. And a day at the beach without sand getting everywhere. And a relaxing bath that your children don't interrupt.
I deserve all that?
It's really just a visual metaphor for Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar. Everything you want, nothing you don't.
A visual metaphor on the radio. I do deserve that.
Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar. The zero you deserve is finally here.
Before there was a draft, you could size up a cowboy by 3 simple factors: the crease in his hat, the bend of his brim, and his unbending attitude. A man's Stetson didn't just protect him from what life threw at him, it projected a rugged, unstoppable spirit. Stetson hats are still American-made with pride right here in Texas. They're still the unofficial crown of all self-respecting cowboys, and Stetson is proud to be on the field with America's team. Find a retailer nearest you at stetson.com/cowboys.
There's nothing as unique as our eyes, which is why Essilor pioneers ways to make lenses as unique as you. Verilux for super sharp vision, Essential Blue for protection, and Crizal for freedom from glare. 3 cutting-edge solutions in a single unique lens. So whatever your needs, insist on Essilor. Visit your local Essilor experts and find the perfect lens for you. See more, do more, Essilor.
Back to Media Mash.
All right, let's try this. Welcome back to Media Mash. I'm Steve Dennis, along with Jory Epstein of USA Today, Nick Eatman, who has been providing you Cowboys fans content for 23 years, 22
Something
years.
like
Clarence E. Hill Jr., Fort Worth Star-Telegram. I'm going to try this
for a lot
game.
of years, too.
A lot of years.
Yeah, are we assuming I haven't been providing content for 23 years?
You've been just providing, like, breath for 23 years, probably.
Just about.
You've handled that well.
Thank you.
Yeah. Just getting started. Isn't that exciting? And to be so young covering the Dallas Cowboys.
What year? How old were you when you started covering the Cowboys? 23?
Yeah, 22.
22.
You were just out of. You were still in college, weren't you?
Just out.
No, just out.
You were just
out. And it's one of those things where it's like it's cool because you know, I mean, first of all, it's cool on so many different levels, but also when you have a job that no one's had before, it's like I always said, it was like the coolest thing was that no one's ever had it. It's also the scariest thing is no one's ever had it, so I don't really know what to do here. But I'll say this, and not just because he's here. You know, you always need people. You have people. Everybody has people that they can lean on. Clarence Hill, I mean, he unlike other people covering the beat at that time, who I was too young to hang out with and talk to. Clarence, he never met anybody he's never talked to, so I learned a lot from guys.
Clarence is a very generous guy. He doesn't want you to know that about him, but he is.
Oh, he is.
He is.
For sure.
Very friendly fellow.
Yeah.
We don't want to say too many nice things about Chill, though, do we?
No. I mean, but, like Jock Taylor, I had to be on the beat 3 years before Jock was like, okay, you're finally here. I'll talk to you.
Yeah.
Clarence.
Hey, now, what was your job before you got the beat writer gig at Fort Worth Star-Telegram in 97?
I was covering high schools. I was a lead high school writer in Fort Worth.
Okay.
I thought you were in Kansas City.
I was there, too.
Okay.
I started in Kansas City.
You were right.
Okay. Like, boy, this is getting bad radio. Let's go. Michael Parsons.
Yeah. I got here when I was 37, and I was so happy to be here. I worked in Wichita, Kansas for 12 years for Channel 3. Is that right? But anyway, I just couldn't believe it. Oh, man, every day I was going, I'm covering the Dallas Cowboys. I just love it. Still love it. It never left me, that love. All right, we're going to play a little game called Believe It or Don't Believe It, all right? I'm going to throw 5 statements at you and take your time discussing them and go in whatever order you want to. Number 1, the Cowboys are number 1 in the league with 6 turnovers after 2 games. Took them to week 8 to get to their 6th turnover last year. Here's the statement. These Cowboys will be a top 3 takeaway team in 2021. Believe it or do not believe it?
I'll go do not believe it. Top 10, yes. Top 3, no.
Top 3 is tough, man. That's
How about let's see some more. What I do know, this defense is going to be much better than last year.
well. This isn't 2 games down. This is like 8 games because you cut it off at 6 or whatever. But I mean, last 5 or 6 games of the season, they were getting a lot of turnovers.
But we're talking about different guys though, outside of Trayvon Diggs. We're talking about different guys getting those turnovers.
Anthony Brown got a few.
Who?
Anthony Brown, the guy that
Jordan Lewis got 1 or 2 last year.
No, he had a fumble.
Jalen Smith got one
last year. I'm just talking about the guys that have gotten them so far this year. That's all.
I'm just saying that even though it's different scheme and all that, they were getting some turnovers last year. At the end of the season, they started figuring it out, so it's kind of carried over.
But honestly, it may be quantified by the turnovers, but the defense is better. The defense is playing better than it did last year. The safety position is better. The linebacker position as a whole is better. The defensive line position is better. Okay, Diggs second. He looks like a shutdown corner. He's better than he was last year. Mm-hmm. The defense is better. So those numbers should look good in turnovers and other things as well.
Thank you, Jory. You're the only one that played the game correctly. You said you do not believe
it.
And I kind of said, yeah, that's pretty tough.
Do not believe it?
I don't believe that.
Do not believe it.
I don't believe it, but I think the goal is to be a better defense.
Well,
that's all I'm saying.
let's put it at a number that we would.
Okay.
Top
what?
I think top 10
top
for
10?
sure.
Top
I believe
8?
it.
Their number.
Yeah, I
but they come in bunches and they go in bunches too. So
right, so we'll get them, we'll lose them, they'll bring them back.
That's what Campo used to always tell us.
Every coach says that.
Yeah, I know. All right, number 2, Tony Pollard, 8.4 yards per carry versus the Chargers. He had 16 touches to Zeke's 19 touches. The statement is this: everybody on this team, players and coaches, know that Pollard has all the pop and explosiveness, not Zeke. Believe it or do not believe it?
Do not believe it. I think all the pop. I mean, do I think he's got the pop? Yes. Do I think Zeke also does, and that the way that Zeke is pounding and wearing down these defensive linemen is contributing? Also, yes. I don't think that we should take away plays from Tony because, Zeke's there and he's got that contract. I think there's a role for each of them, but I think Zeke is contributing more than the stats reflect, and I think what Tony's doing reflects what Zeke is doing.
100% agree with that. Average per carry to me is. I don't think it's as accurate as a statement. I mean, because think about it. You 3rd and 1 and Zeke gets 2 yards. He did his job. You ran him right up the belly of the defense. He did his job. Now that kills his average, but I mean, I think these guys are working well together. I think, like she said, I think Tony Pollard has some freedom on the outside because of what Zeke's doing, and vice versa. And also the fact that this isn't center, this isn't quarterback. They play together, and Kellen Moore's doing a good job of putting them both out there. So I don't think this is a problem at all.
What is the question again?
Does everybody believe in the building that Tony has more pop?
That he has all the pop. Zeke doesn't have it anymore.
Doesn't have it.
The pop, the explosiveness.
He doesn't have the pop.
Zeke does not have. Zeke said it today. Tony is faster. He's quicker. There's no question Tony is faster and quicker. There's also no question they work well together. So I have a problem, and I don't like answer because I don't have a problem with the either or question. You know, like it's you got the defined question of Tony has all the pop. So that means when you say yes, that means Zeke's trash. Because that's what you get. That's what usually people think about.
So
Zeke doesn't have it anymore.
You do not believe it. It's just very simple.
No, I think Zeke is a very productive back. But yes, Tony has more explosiveness. I don't play games like that. I don't like
all the pop.
Okay.
Because he's got some pop.
I would present you with this. When Pollard first showed up, and there were many in the media that were already going after Zeke. This kid needs more carries, blah, 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 when he's a rookie. See, Zeke's game is different now. Zeke used to be a 3-down back that you did not want off the field. So there's no reason for Pollard to be on the field because Zeke was a great inside runner, and then he would get outside and bam. I mean, when he was in college, 80 yards against Alabama, 80 yards against Oregon.
But you know what? You know what? I don't want to say that. Those were mostly inside plays. Those were not running
and
around.
And then he busted it out.
Yeah,
he busted it out.
But he would bust.
He can't go anymore. I don't think he can go anymore.
Okay, and that's fine. But it's
now they need Pollard there to go.
I look at his stats last year. And everybody, Zeke was so bad. Zeke averaged 4.0 yards a carry last year. That's a damn good average per carry for a running back.
And
it's lower than what he's done. His biggest problem last year were the fumbles, but his yards per carry, 4.0 yards per carry.
4.6 or something.
Last year was 4.0, which is good. That's what you want from a running back.
Right, it's like if you're coming around the edge, you're trying to beat the defender, get on the sideline, I think you want Tony. But up the middle, Zeke's still doing something. What I like is the same way the Cowboys showed, we'll make you pay in the passing game week 1, we'll make you pay in the running game week 2. Some defenses they'll play will be better able to defend Tony than Zeke and vice versa, and they can maximize
Okay,
that.
well, I love Zeke as a running back. He's my running back, man. I'm telling you. But we remember when he was a rookie, and we'd all jump out of our seats. My God!
He's not that anymore.
But 1,700 carries,
Steve,
a lot of
them
inside.
The average lifespan of a running back is 3 years. He's doubled it. This is 6 years. He's not going to be the same. But here's what's got to happen, and I think Kellen Moore has definitely figured it out. To make this work, this isn't inside-outside. Zeke has to run on the outside, and Pollard has to run some on the inside to make everybody honest on what they really want to do. So there might be a 3rd and 2 that Pollard has to go right up the middle, get hit, with 1 yard, and push that guy through.
And we're not sure that he's shown much of that.
Can't do it every day.
And the thing about it is and this is not to you question, it's to the fans, because there are a lot of people, even dumb media, who say Pollard should start, or Pollard should get more carries, or Pollard should get this. Pollard's never carried the load in his life. Never. Just like Felix Jones. I mean, they never carried the load in his life, okay? He's always shared the responsibility. He didn't play full-time running back in college. To get the most out of Pollard, this is probably the best how you want to use it. You don't want to give him 25 or 30 touches.
Yeah.
Okay, using them in tandem and how they're using them is the best way to do it. You're using them both.
But I do think that discussion that goes back to Pollard's rookie year, when a lot of people were mad at Zeke because he went to Cabo.
All the whole that.
The whole
Zeke
deal.
who? Jerry Feuder too.
The difference in the discussion today is the time has come where in those days I would argue, and I did very loudly, you do not want Zeke Elliott off the field. So quit with the nonsense. Now, Tony on the field is kind of nice.
But you're getting them both on the field.
Right.
You said 16 and 19 touches, so they're both sharing the load.
You can love the situation without being negative about Zeke. Zeke is a great player. He's an underrated player still.
At this point.
For everything he does.
And because of what the Cowboys do passing-wise, you need Zeke on that field. You need Zeke on that wall protecting Dak Prescott.
Yes, you do.
On that wall. You don't want to be on that wall, Nick.
And Dak will tell you the way that
you can't handle the truth.
Quit yelling over Jory.
Go.
I'm sorry, Jory.
Clarence likes to
That's what he does.
I think for the protection, I think for the threat in the run game that allows the pass game to work, and I also think that the way that Zeke helps the communication between Dak and the offensive line. Dak talks a lot about that, and I don't think we can underrate that.
I love my favorite thing in the Hard Knocks deal was when Zeke was teaching Hardy how to be a running back. I mean, he's a team guy, man. He always has been. And by the way, he was asked about it today. You guys were all there.
Yeah, he has great quotes about it.
He said, hey, they're not paying the checks.
Not writing the checks, they're not sending the wires.
I don't care what they think.
Star Telegram asked that question.
All right, number three. Jaron Kearse, 6 tackles, played 97% of the snaps, had a tackle for a loss against the Chargers, had a QB hit, had a pass deflection. He had an interception that was overturned. Statement. Jaron Kearse is the best safety on this team. Believe it or do not believe it?
No.
I don't believe it.
Number 18 is the best safety on this team right now. Number 18 is a ball guy.
28.
But I'd like to note that Clarence answered the question this time.
He did.
I did.
He didn't mess around. He was definitive.
But we love what J-Ron. J-Ron has played much better than anybody expected him to. Probably the Cowboys too. Because you go back to Minnesota and Detroit, I didn't see this from day. I look at the stats. They didn't play him like this. What he played, he had a great game the other day.
Yeah, he said something to me the other day I thought was interesting. He said not every coordinator wants a guy like him. He said they feel like I'm too big, I can't move like they want. But Dan Quinn, when they signed him, said I have a vision for you. I have a plan for a player like you, and so far it's worked. I think Malik Hooker might be the best safety on this team. Because Casey keeps getting turnovers in the red zone, then it's going to be hard to beat. But I think Malik Hooker is going to get there as well. Extra help at safety? I mean, what?
Yeah.
And we haven't seen Donovan Wilson do what Donovan Wilson does.
That's right.
But, the safety position
who
is
are you putting
deepest.
on the field? Who are you leaving off it?
The beautiful
Kwame,
thing,
I'm leaving him off the field. Sorry. That's it.
But the beautiful thing with Dan Quinn, he's going to use him like they did the big nickel. They opened the game with the big nickel last week with 3 safeties. He's going to use all of them in different situations based on body style, covering tight ends, different things.
Hey.
He has a vision.
If Keanu O'Neal can slide down and play a little bit in the nickel, or play the nickel as a nickel linebacker, who's to say with an extra day of practice or whatever that 27 J-Ron Kearse can't come down and do that, play alongside maybe Leighton. That keeps Micah Parsons rushing the passer a little more. There's things to do here. There's things you can kind of move around and slide guys underneath. I mean, that's why
It is such a pleasure to see a player like him that you don't know much about, who was a cheap free agent, and you watch him on the field, and he just plays football.
That interception was amazing.
Just goes
I don't care if it's a penalty or not.
And he's around the ball, and, man, that's fun to watch.
And I think what stands out to me on this discussion when we keep talking about Dan Quinn maximizing what all these players can do is I think all 3 of us were at the Senior Bowl January 2020. We're kind of standing in that stadium talking to Steven, and he's being like, our scheme is going to fit the players, and that's not really what Rod Marinelli wanted, but that's what we're going to do now. And you just didn't see that last year. Now it's like, okay, finally they're fitting their scheme to their players.
We're going to get to that question as our last one in a different way. But number 4 here. All right, Cowboys offense throws it 58 times versus Tampa, runs it for 60 yards, 26% run plays in that game, versus the Chargers, 52% run plays, run it for 198 yards. Here's the statement. The Cowboys offense can do whatever it wants to exploit the matchup and be successful. Believe it or do not believe it?
Do not. No. They had 2 touchdowns in the first quarter. They didn't score again. They got figured out. But the defense stepped up, and then became a dogfight, and they were able to win it. But no, they haven't proven to that point where they can just go and do whatever they wanted. Because whatever they wanted and should have done in Tampa Bay, if that was the case, why'd you give Tom Brady a second at all?
Go get the first down. And just score in the red zone.
Yeah,
they have to improve their red zone. They haven't proven they can win in the red zone.
Yeah, and I would say that when I hear they can do whatever they want, I think it's kind of the opposite. If you can do whatever you want, you go take your identity wherever you want. I think they know that they need to respond to this defense and take into account for that, and that's why it's been different.
Okay, but here's what I mean by the question, though. Kellen Moore is, and we'll talk about this later in the program today.
I know.
I mean, he knew what he needed to do against Tampa to be competitive.
They can win however they want.
You called it, and they played that way and could have won that game.
Should have won that way.
Then you were right again when we were arguing what the game plan would be against the Chargers, and they win a tight game where they only scored 20 points. First time in 3 years that's happened. So Kellen Moore thinks he can see the matchup and do whatever he wants to be successful.
He can.
I would say I believe that they will continue to game plan weekly based on
I'm now taking your question as they can win any style of game you want to play. And yes, I do think they can win a fight like that. It also depends on who strikes first, like a boxing match. If you get the first punch in, you can do a lot more things.
Getting up 14-3 was huge in this game.
Yes.
Huge in this game. And that's why I thought they'd throw it 50 times, because I thought it'd be the other way around.
Yeah, and I think that, and I just got to get this in, I think they'd have might have scored another touchdown if somebody don't call for a block punt and take the ball out of Dak's hand in the last 2 minutes of the first half.
Clarence, Cowboys fans are not the play it safe type. They were just trying to give the fans what they want.
No, it's not about you, Coach. It's not about you.
We talked about that yesterday.
It's not about you.
That comment was
idiotic,
asinine.
Well, it was,
Cuckoo,
and some
Cocoa
people I think misconstrued. He may have been trying to be funny and be sarcastic, but what he was doing was taking the blame off of him and putting it on Cowboys fans. This is what Cowboys fans expect from me. BS.
We don't expect anything from you but to not mess it up.
All right, speaking of coordinators, I love this statement. I'm going to come right with it. Statement is this: Dan Quinn is the Cowboys' best defensive coordinator since Dave Campo. Believe it or do not believe it?
I mean,
you want me to give you the list?
Yeah, give me the list.
You want me to go back in time?
Yeah, I need a little bit.
Nolan.
He's not better than Zimmer.
Marinelli, Kiffin, Rob Ryan, Brian Stewart, Mike Zimmer, who, by the way, was 49-63 when he was a defensive coordinator. Dave Campo, who went to the playoffs 4 times, 95-99, won a Super Bowl.
It wasn't his defense. It wasn't his defense.
And then you had the really good ones before that: Butch Davis, Dave Wannstedt, and Ernie Stott.
Yeah, and you also had the really good players on those teams, too.
The only one that would stop you in this discussion is Zimmer.
I tell you what. He is the best coordinator who's coming here with he's coming in with the best resume. He has the best track record.
But he hasn't proven more than Marinelli proved at his height yet.
Yeah. He has the better
he
has the best track record coming in, has the best resume. No defensive coordinator has joined this team with a better resume as a Super Bowl champion defense coordinator. I will give you that.
Marinelli 56-40 in his 6 years, 2-3 in the playoffs. Marinelli,
he wasn't.
He had the Tampa.
He wasn't the coordinator. He was just a line coach.
Marinelli, to me, motivated ridiculously well. His players overachieved for him, but his scheme was. I mean, Dan Quinn comes in here and changes that complete mess that we saw last year in 2. You can see it
again. Marinelli doesn't draft Micah Parsons.
That's another problem. He was the one that always had their ear, telling them, "Hey, you got to bring me this guy."
No, Marinelli wouldn't have drafted Parsons. He'd get Rashawn Slater.
No, but what I'm saying is he would pick the wrong guy.
Well, he'd figure it out. He'd bring a guy in that could do something else, and then looks like a star and all that kind of stuff. But he liked those
Tristan Hill.
Right, he liked those underachieving
they were
players.
together for Tristan's 21st birthday. It was a memorable day.
Oh, I like that. Jory got sentimental there for a minute. So do believe it or do not believe it?
Best since Campo. I don't even know if I like the statement that Campo was.
I'm not going to diss Zimmer like that. Zimmer's too good of a coach. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, Zimmer was the coordinator when Campo was the head coach. See, that's what you can't say. Well, Campo was this great coordinator. When Campo was the head coach, Zimmer was the coordinator. Their teams weren't very good. That's why his record wasn't good.
Well, and
but
when
Zimmer
you're
is
saying,
a good coach.
Zimmer's
is
what their
a damn good coach. So
good that Parcells didn't want him until he looked at him a little bit more and said, "You know what? This guy actually can coach." And he made him his 3-4, defensive coordinator because he knew football.
That was one of the things Parcells changed his mind about. He wanted Zimmer to take the job in Nebraska.
Yeah, get out of here.
He goes, go to Nebraska. It'd be good for it. And all of a sudden he thought about it. And went, no, wait a minute. Now we don't want to lose you to Nebraska.
Yeah, I think he's a really good coach. I'll say Zimmer.
I do too.
I say Zimmer.
Yeah, I just thought it would be fun to go all the way back to Campo. So do not believe, do not believe, do not believe?
Yeah, have not yet proven.
Okay. All right. Yeah, it's an overreaction. It's only 2 games. That's what you do after
what we
2
do.
games.
That's how you
In the
fill up
3rd game,
radio.
we'll learn so much more, and then we'll settle into things. See? What if he shuts out Philly?
Of course, is in. First of all, let's be honest. This is the beginning of a 3-game road. home trip. Okay, they need to take care of business at home.
What did you just say? This
a beginning of a 3-game home.
Thank you.
Listen,
3 games at home.
Hey.
3 games at home. You're at home for 3 games. Take care of business at home.
The best 2 quarterbacks they faced so far is Tom Brady, Justin Herbert.
On the road.
In a month and a half?
Patrick Mahomes?
No, in a month and a half. I'm talking about about 5 or 6 weeks. You're going to ask the same thing. Who are the best 2 they face? It's going to be Tom Brady and Justin Herbert. And,
right.
Because you have to go beat
that.
Jalen Hurts,
Darnold is playing some pretty good football.
Mac Jones,
You have to
Daniel
beat him at home.
Jones,
Daniel Jones is
bye
playing
week
some
Jones. You got to beat all these guys
At home. At home.
You know, I had an epiphany watching the Giants game last week. I really did. I haven't.
Jason Garrett's the best offensive coordinators.
No. There's an issue that we've seen that issue, but Daniel Jones is pretty good. I see why they are patient with that dude.
He's a good athlete.
I love when he takes off running.
Yeah,
it's so entertaining.
It is entertaining.
The greatest play of all time
ever
last
since
year.
the trip,
Yeah.
it's like you just want to know, is he going to land on his feet at the end or not?
And he's got joy for the game too, and I hate to sound like Jason Garrett, but that is a characteristic that I really like. Players, you can just tell, love to play. And Daniel Jones, he loves to go.
I love Kenny Galladay was like, no, I have no problem with Daniel Jones. I was yelling at Garrett.
I was yelling at the coordinator.
Yeah, not him. That's okay, right?
All right, speaking of the offensive coordinator, I got to give Clarence credit. He was right 2 games in a row. I want to see if he can do it for a third. So let's figure out what we think Kellen Moore is going to do against the Eagles next on Media Mash.
Hi, I'm Clint Tillison with United Ag and Turf. Before you can park yourself in front of the game, park yourself in a John Deere and power through your chores. Our Land Run package is a 1025R, 25 horsepower tractor with a loader, rotary cutter, and a box blade for $229 a month. And the price you see is the price you'll pay, no surprises. So don't miss another kickoff.
Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com. Offer ends February 1st, 2021. Restrictions apply. See dealer for details.
Now let's get to work.
The Cowboys way, where 16 Hall of Famers and 5 championships shows us what success looks like. Where turkey is always the second best part of Thanksgiving Day. Where we are all defined by one single thing, the star. Where we as fans know it's our job to keep the tradition going. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank of the Dallas Cowboys and to support the quest of living life the Cowboys way.
Copyright 2020, Bank of America Corporation.
Want to use what the pros use? How about the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black? Right now, you can get the Jack Black Starter, a curated collection of Cowboys locker room favorites for just $10 with free shipping. The starter includes 4 Jack Black skincare favorites, plus a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Go to getjackblack.com/Cowboys and use the code word TEAMJB. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys. The Jack Black Starter, $10, free shipping.
Honey, big news.
Gary, are you okay?
Oh, I'm not Gary anymore. I'm Jackie Flash.
What?
See, I want the latest smartphone, but the best deals are only for new customers. So, to get a new customer deal, I changed my name to Jackie Flash.
Okay, but the best smartphone deals at AT&T are for everyone, new and existing customers.
That's huge. Then guess who's getting a deal?
Is it Jackie Flash?
Jackie Flash.
It's not complicated. At AT&T, our best smartphone deals are for everyone. Restrictions apply. Visit att.com for details.
Back to Media Mash.
Clarence Hill and I have argued over the years. We used to argue so bad years ago that the rest of the media would get away from us. We were like that bad married couple that we would start arguing college football and we would notice everybody would start leaving the room. Didn't they, Chill?
They did.
We were both a little
And
loud.
then Vince Young went to Ohio State and beat y'all's butt.
And then we came back the next year and beat that butt.
2005, 2006. Like, that's what we're talking about here.
Nick, I think they're just trying to see if the beginning of this segment's going to be even more exciting than the beginning of the last one.
Nate Sally should have made that play.
Nate Sally.
You never forget. You never forget.
I hear you.
All right. The reason why I bring Chill up in our arguments
lose
is because he was right. The first 2 games, I really thought that Herbert would get a lead on the Cowboys and Dak would have to throw him back into the game. Didn't happen that way. Cowboys got control early, and they stuck to the run game. A wonderful plan. It worked. All the penalties certainly helped because Herbert, I think, played pretty well and scored a couple of more touchdowns that became out of his hands. But the question is, I want to see if Clarence is going to be right again, but we're going to make him wait and hear from you two first. What do you think in general the plan is for Kellen against this defense without Brandon Graham in the game, which is huge?
Yeah, they just bring in Ryan Kerrigan, who's been
he's old though.
He's old. He's been a pain in the Cowboys,
player,
side for a while, and he was been a pain. I mean, Lyle Collins said it was the toughest matchup he's ever gone up against, and so he's not even here, and Terrence Steele is. So we'll see. I think the plan. I loved what he said. We always say take what the defense gives him. I love his.
Aggressively take.
This reminds me of like a dog. You give them a treat and they just kind of eat it out of their hand, or they just snatch it. You know what I mean? Like there's a difference in just taking it. Like if you're gonna, okay, you want us to run? Well, we're gonna run all day. You're gonna give us the deep ball? We'll do it. That's one thing we haven't seen a lot of is taking big shots. So I don't have a good answer. I just know that they're gonna find the Waldo. They're gonna find the weak spot and they're gonna just exploit it and attack it.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because we saw the first game the Cowboys commit so heavily to the pass, the second game so heavily to the run, and I think we could see a little bit more down the middle this game. I think that the Eagles statistically are much easier to go. You want to go against the running on them, but I also think, like you said, Brandon Graham's not going to be there. We want Dak and Amari to do what Dak and Amari have done against the Eagles, and I think this might be a week where we get more balance.
And I'm agreeing with Jory because I think that
first time ever.
I think that
especially today.
I think the game plans against Tampa was decidedly one way because of how Tampa plays defense. I think the game plan against the Chargers was one way. They talked about we want to be patient. We want to run the ball. They deliberately ran the ball to help the defense, to keep that quarterback off the field. So it was they were trying to do what they could do offense. They felt they could run the ball, but it was important to run and be patient against that team, and it worked. This Eagles team, I don't think the defense is so one way or the other where you have to decide I'm going to just run, or the offense is such, I'm going to keep them off the field because they're really not that scary on offense. They can make a few plays out of the pocket, but, they haven't really showed much. So I think this is a game where, we may see the Dallas offense to its full capabilities, running and passing.
They're a very balanced defense. If there is such a thing. I mean, their numbers are a little skewed because they pounded Atlanta 32-6.
Right, Atlanta's awful.
But they've only given up 2 touchdowns. But their yards defensively are not that impressive. 434 total yards, and then 328 total yards. Passing and rushing. 261 to 173, 177 to 151.
And they played
a lot of running yards.
And they played a 49ers offense that didn't have. I mean, I think they were out there 2 or 3 best running backs now, whatever else. And I don't really believe in their passing game,
and still lost.
They didn't score a lot of points and still lost. But the 49ers didn't put a lot of points against them. I watched the Atlanta game. And Atlanta moved the ball well early. They ran the ball and moved right down the field. They got down the red zone and couldn't score. So they played well in the red zone. And that's something the Cowboys, again, they have to prove they can score in the red zone. They cannot be given just settling for field goals. They have to find something they can go to in the red zone. And that's the only thing I question about this team, this receiving core. There's not a real big red zone target. Not a tight end. There's nobody. Because red zone, you need a guy like Gronk who's just bigger than everybody. And I'm going to make a play. Throw the ball up to me. I'm going to bull my way. You don't have that at receiver or tight end.
Here's what I like about this team now, though, is we've said last year, a lot of years, you can't win with field goals. You can't settle for field goals and expect to win. You might be able to if this defense plays as well as we've seen so far. Because field goals almost won that game in Tampa. It didn't because they didn't get enough touchdowns. But field goals helped them win in this game. And so I think the defense is going to keep them in. I'm not saying you go down there, but like Atlanta moved down there a lot. They didn't score a lot of points. They felt like they've got to go for it. I think the Cowboys don't have to be as aggressive. I think they can kick a lot of field goals because they're going to keep moving. They're going to keep moving. You can't kick field goal every time. I'm just saying I think you keep getting points. You keep stacking points. This defense can get turnovers.
If they get 8 possessions, they're going to move it 7 of them.
Yeah, right. You need to move the ball. But again, to me, it's not just about this game. It's about being able to score for down the road because, you're going to see Tom Brady again. You can't settle for field goal.
We're going to see him again. Dak said, "I'll see you again."
Right.
And I think
in big games, whether it's Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers, whatever, you got to be able to prove that you can score consistently in the red zone.
I agree. You have to do it. All I'm saying is that I wouldn't get cute all the time by going for fourth downs. I'm taking the points.
I don't mean going for fourth down. I mean scoring on first and second down and third down.
I get it. I'm just saying they don't have to panic and say, we've got to get touchdowns. We're not going to get down here again, because they will.
Do it on first, second, and third down.
Yeah, I think we're playing with fire if we say, why don't we just settle for field goals? I think that's how you lost game 1, and I think that game 2, regardless of what you think the refs were doing on both sides, there was a little bit of luck involved and a lot of lucky breaks. And so I think that you need to be scoring. And I think what's interesting is we've seen Kellen, I believe, take a step at coordinator. So the next one he needs to take is in the red zone. And we talked to Zeke today, and we're asking him about some of the creative plays, including the last play before halftime where they gained 48 yards with no time on the clock, CD and Zeke. And he's like, look, you guys don't even see anywhere close to the number of trick plays and unorthodox plays that Kellen's putting in. It's not unusual. It's usual for us to get that. So, great. Show us some of that in the red zone now.
The thing that worries me about Philly's defense, Fletcher Cox isn't practicing. He's done nothing in 2 games, and you know he's going to. Derek Barnett has done nothing in 2 games, and you know he's going to. I think they're a little better than they've been. Jason Hargrave is their wrecker. He's got 2 sacks, 4 QB hits, 4 tackles for loss in 2 games.
I would stop and say, I would say you shouldn't say Fletcher Cox has done nothing, because stats lie about defensive tackles. You go back to that 49ers, the Tampa Bay game, Vita V may have been he may have recorded 1 tackle, but he wrecked the shop, okay? Defensive lineman, you got to look at the impact they have for others. And Fletcher Cox is a bull in the middle of that defense, whether he gets the tackle or not.
He shows up a little more than usually he shows up visually.
Yeah, but he's not a big sacker.
So
they don't sack the quarterback. He just mucks up stuff in the middle.
And Zach will take care of him anyway.
Well, that's a good matchup.
That matchup, Zach usually wins.
Yeah.
Before Zach was here, Fletcher won them all.
Yeah.
But they're not a team that turns it over. Hurts has not thrown an interception yet in 2 games. He's got 2 fumbles. But interesting. Now, one quick question about the offense. The feeling in Philly is this Quez kid is about to explode. He's averaging 28 yards a catch for the Eagles. 28 yards a catch. Chill, did you hear me?
How many catches?
5. He's got 5 catches for 140 yards. And Jalen Reagor has got 8 for 54, and Devontae beat the Buckeyes like a drum. Smith, 8 catches for 87 yards, 10.9. They've got 3 really speedy receivers. And that's a bit of a concern. They're young and hungry, and so is Hurts. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. You read all the fan pages in Philly, and it's all about this Quez kid, Quez Watkins. They think he's about to just go huge. Thoughts?
Do it.
I think that the Eagles will burn the Cowboys for some big plays deep. I think every team just about will. And then it looks like
who are they going to burn?
Well,
who aren't they going to? I mean, it seems like most of these corners are getting burned out. So even Trayvon Diggs, who's been playing really well.
Gave up 2 big plays to Keenan.
Yeah, I mean.
But Keenan's good.
Right. So if they've got some players who are good, I think that they will burn them at times. And then the defense will also make key stops, will also get those takeaways. And that's just kind of how this defense is looking like it will be.
All right, real quick, final question before I'll leave you guys alone. If the Cowboys don't win sort of in fine fashion, will you be disappointed Monday night? Does it have to be a game where they show the NFC East they're home Monday night? Thump those Eagles.
Why? Why did they win?
I'm just talking about have the look of a leader against the Eagles.
Just win.
We'll do that for me. These games. Look at Washington. Look at the Giants a couple nights ago. I mean, the NFC East games are always. Doesn't matter if the teams are really good, really bad, in the middle. They play each other very, very tough. And I just think you got to go and win. I mean, Philadelphia, their coach is wearing T-shirts saying to beat them. What I mean? You're trying to beat a T-shirt and a football team.
Just win the game. You're not going to be playing your best 3 games into the season anyway. They still got guys to come back. You know, the Cowboys don't need to show their dominance until December, January, okay?
And if
just
you
win the game. Build some momentum.
And to think that a slight win would be a disappointment on Monday Night Football, we're coming off a Monday Night Football game where the Cardinals beat the Cowboys 38-10 at AT&T Stadium
coming off 6 and 10.
year. So I think that
you're greedy
that's
here.
what you're coming from.
No,
Let's
I'm just saying.
one.
You don't have,
I'm just saying.
There's no style points. Just win, baby.
I don't care what the score is. Winning is what matters. But I'm saying just having that look that, okay, in the NFC East, Eagles aren't going to be it.
The image in my mind right now is Dak Prescott after the Chargers game. Dak had half the passing yards, half the attempts, almost lost. He was like not looking at the final kick. And if you saw how happy he was racing across that field,
Did
that's
you
what
see
a
him
win
slap
does.
Rich? You see him slap the taste out of Rich?
That's what the win does
Fix
for these
that
players.
Rich.
It
Just
didn't
fix
matter
it.
how they
Pushed
won.
him. Dez wanted to really push him.
Fix that itch,
Dak
Rich.
did it for him. All right.
Jason Garrett shove.
Thank you all for letting me talk a little Cowboys with you. Nick Eatman, thanks, man. Clarence E. Hill Jr., Fort Worth Star-Telegram. Jory, thank you from USA Today. We'll do it again. Beamer, your day's over. Chris Beam, our producer, he listens to every podcast all day and produces it. The man.
He's tired.
So he gets smart at the end. Ooh, shots fired.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I see what you're saying. All right. Enjoy the Monday night game. You guys have fun. We'll do it again next Wednesday and Thursday at 4 o'clock. Bye now.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys?